Hey, good morning. This is Dusty Baker. You're listening to Jim on Base.
Hey, it's Ryan from the Jim on Base Show, and I want to give a huge shout out to my friends at Claim to Fame. They have some of the best jackets out there that I love to wear. You can rock them for date night, a casual outing with friends, or even while doing a podcast. They're lightweight, they're durable, and perfect for any setting. My favorites are the dark blue, the olive shade, and if you want to switch things up and go for a lighter color, one of my favorite go-tos is the Pacific blue. So check them out at claimtofame.com for all their different styles. The next time you step out, you'll be feeling good with Claim to Fame. Welcome back to another episode of the Jim on Base Show. For today's episode, we have a friend of the show returning. He's a World Series champion, both as a player and manager. He also has his own wine company called Baker Family Wines, and he has a pretty good taste in music too. Please welcome the great Dusty Baker. Dusty, thanks for coming on.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, man. It was a little tough us making this connection, but we made it.
Yeah, I know. We had a little technical difficulty, but we made it happen.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you. Last time I saw you was over the weekend. You were in San Francisco for the NBA All-Star Game. You were part of the pickleball event, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's the first time I've ever seen one live. Like they got some pickleball courts over by where I live, and it's always crowded, but they have like a wall around it, so you can't see what's going on. But I tell you, it's very competitive, and it can be played by everyone, from 8 to 80. And, I saw Rick Barry out there moving around. I mean, pretty good. I mean, I kind of like, whoa, man, I better start doing something. Rick can do it. I can do it.
Yeah, I was wondering, are you a golf guy, or have you gone into pickleball yet? Or
No, something. I tried to play golf years ago, but it wasn't that fun. And if I had 3 or 4 hours like that to fool around, I'd probably go fishing somewhere. And that's what I used to like to hunt a lot, but
Hmm.
it's a little tougher on my legs and a little tougher on my hands because I'm on blood thinners from a
Hmm.
stroke like 9 years ago. So I get cold now where I didn't get cold before, but I love fishing. Probably things I love the most is fishing, growing things in the garden, and music.
Well, I was gonna say you got to hit the lake with Rick Barry then. I know he's into fishing, right?
Oh yeah, probably so because he's from Florida, and
Yeah.
so anybody from Florida almost fishes automatically. My dad was from Lakeland, Florida, and we fished every Saturday. And
Hmm.
so if you're from Florida, most of the time you got a good chance of being a fisherman.
Well, I thought it was kind of fun seeing you interact with Mario Lopez, because
Hmm.
obviously you play for the Dodgers and everything. So, do you guys know each other from him growing up a Dodger fan, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, I knew Mario when he was like 18 years old, and I asked him the other day. I said, "Man, you still look 18. You still
Yeah.
looking good." And when I was on the Dodgers, yeah, I knew Mario. Mario was on Saved by the Bell, and
Yep.
so and my daughter loved Saved by the Bell, and Mario used to call the house sometime, and then my daughter would say, "Who is that?" I said, "Mario Lopez." She goes, "Dad, did he ask for me?" I said, "No, honey." But the world's amazing. I mean, there are some guys you meet years ago, and when you reacquaintance, when you meet them again, it's like you're never apart. And that's a beautiful thing also about sports. Sports keeps guys in the loop. You may not see a guy for a long, long time, but as soon as you see him, it reminds you of everything that happened in the
Hmm.
past, and hopefully it was good.
Well, speaking of the past, time going by, I heard you guys talking about your guys' ages, and he said
Yeah.
he's 51. I was like, he looks like you said, he looks like he's 18. I don't know what he's eating and drinking, but he's doing it good.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't remember, how old he was because it's getting tougher. The older I get, I'm like, my nieces and nephews. I'm like, hey man, are you old enough to drink? And like, Uncle Dusty, I'm 35 now, and I was like, oh really? Okay. And so, yeah, Mario does look great. He showed me a picture of his family,
Mm.
beautiful family, and Mario's a good dude. And like I told him, every hotel I go in, I either wake up with Mario on on something or go to bed with Mario because those infomercials that they always have in every hotel.
Yeah.
Mario's doing pretty good.
Well, yeah, and people don't know, I got to say, he was hosting the event, and there's a lot of celebrities there, and that's how
Right.
me and you connected. And thanks again for coming on and doing this interview with me, because I think you might have said, is today your wife's birthday?
Yeah, it's her birthday today. And so, I got some honeydews to do and then take her out to dinner. And, I heard from one of the guys there this morning from from Baron Davis, a great
Mm.
basketball player. And guess what? He wants me to come on and do a podcast with me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're
Okay, so
saying you get a lot of requests, so I feel honored that you gave me
yeah, I
some
get a
time.
lot of requests, and sometimes it takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
But there are people that want to hear you sometimes, and there are people that you kind of owe favors to, or you want to help launch their career.
Mm.
Also, so podcasts are good, but I tell you one thing, they're becoming more and more popular because a lot of people have them.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get you in trouble, get you in the doghouse with it being her birthday. So, we
No,
gotta.
that's okay.
Well, you kind of get everything knocked out in a short period of time. You have her birthday, and then you just had Valentine's Day too, right? So
Hmm.
you're
Oh
busy.
yeah, I am busy, and then I'm buying a lot of gifts in a short period of
Yeah.
time.
And you're also headed out of town too, I think, to visit your son Darren, right? You going to spring training right now, or?
Yeah, well, I'm supposed to go to spring training on Wednesday
Mm.
and on Thursday actually. So I'm gonna see him for about a week, and it's always nice to see him. And I really don't miss spring training that much because spring training is work.
Early
You're up at
mornings,
five.
right? Long days.
Yeah, yeah, you're up 5:30 in the morning, and you get home 6:37, eat something, and then you got to do it all over again. And see, in the old days, we had one day off,
Mm.
and now they give them a whole 2 days off. And the thing about spring training is kind of like doing homework. I don't know a whole bunch of guys that like doing homework, but spring training, the fans have a great time because they're there for a week or a weekend, and so they can just blow it out and wake up at 10:30, 11, 12 o'clock. But for us, it's work. But if you don't, it's kind of like doing homework. If you don't do your homework, you're not going to be prepared for the season. And
Mm.
just it's that's all I can think about it. But I enjoy it, spring training, but I don't miss it.
Yeah. Well, I do got to ask. Usually, when I have people on, I like asking about their MLB debut or whatever sport they play. But what was
Mhm.
it like for you to have that? And then you got to watch Darren's debut, right? So it must have been pretty
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
special.
my dad and family saw my debut in San Francisco,
Wow.
and yeah, that's where I made my.
Hmm.
Uh,
Ironic.
yeah, and I remember they wouldn't let me in the clubhouse. Mike Murphy was, end up being one of my best friends, and ended up being our clubhouse guy when I was on the Giants, and Murph wouldn't let me in. And he was on the visiting side then, him and
Hmm.
Mario Alioto. And Mario was a little kid. And
Wow.
so he says, "Hey, can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm on the team." He goes, "Yeah, right. Me too, son." Hey, get lost. So I was like, I just stand outside, and all of a sudden Mr. Busby comes by, one of the coaches. He goes, "Dusty, what are you doing standing out there?" I said, "This guy won't let me in." So Murph goes, "This guy's on the team?" Because he said that's why he still calls me 14, because he said I look 14 years old.
Oh, that's good.
Mhm.
Well, I do gotta ask you about your Baker family wines. And did Rich
Mhm.
Aurelia and Dave Roberts, did they rope you in? Because I know they have their own wine brand, Red
No,
Stitch.
no. Actually, we started different times.
Mm.
Chick Brenneman is my winemaker, and he picked out my rootstock. And I was with Mondavi at the time, and I was on their advisory staff.
Mm.
And so I'd go to lunches and dinners with their distributors like Canandaigua and Southern Wine and Spirits and all those kind of guys. And so I moved to Sacramento because my dad was suffering with dementia at the time. So my brother and I wanted to come home to help my dad. And so I bought a piece of property out here in Granite Bay. And I had a couple extra acres, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't want to landscape the whole thing. And I was going to build a pond. And my guy, it's on a slope, a little bit of slope. And he said I'd flood my neighbor. And I'm like, well, that ain't a good deal. That's what my insurance man said. So I said, well, let me plant a vineyard because I like to grow stuff. I've always had a garden. My dad always had a garden. So I planted a vineyard, and then, Chick showed me the ropes. Like I said, picked out my rootstock, picked out, my posts, the watering, the vines, the wires, you name it. And so I was just a gentleman farmer. And after about 2 or 3 years, this is 20 years ago, 2 or 3 years went by, and the grapes were ready for harvest. and we harvest them. And they were Syrah grapes. I wanted Cabernet Sauvignon, but Chick said I was in the wrong region right
Uh,
away. And, it's too hot in Sacramento. And so I started giving it away to, a
hmm.
lot of the ball players in Sacramento, and they liked it. Jared Manuel, Greg Vaughn, Roland Office. I mean, all the boys from here, Jerry Royster. And so Chick and I said, hey, man, let's make a business of it. And then I was out. I lost a couple jobs.
Mm.
So I was home and where I could really tend to it. And so one thing led to another. It's a labor of love. It's it's costly, but at the same time, uh, you know, you see it from the time that there are no leaves on the branches to grapes to crushing it to the final result, and it's very gratifying.
Yeah, I bet. And it made me wonder though, when you were managing then, is that kind of how you relaxed after a game? Did you go in the manager's office and have a glass of wine or?
Not really. I always had wine in my office because I'd send for them, and different varietals. And actually, Chick named one of them the walk off red, and so it got to be kind of a thing on my team in Houston. Whoever had a walk off, got a bottle of wine, and
Uh,
Carlos Correa started first because he said, "Man, where's my walk off?" And I was like, "Well, you did walk somebody off," and so might have motivated some of the guys to try to get some of the wine. But I'm a wine drinker, but I got to limit my wine, because
oh,
because in my family, we have borderline, diabetes, and so you got to be careful of sugar content.
spike.
Yeah, exactly. So I drink, a glass or two, maybe max of wine, and a lot of times I'll just have scotch instead of wine.
Okay.
That's what I like to.
Well, I'm going to put a link in the bio so people can check out Baker Family Wines. And you talk about Chick Brenneman, the
Yeah,
winemaker. I saw him at the event. He had a tie-dye shirt of your wine
yeah.
on. Made me think of Woodstock. So,
Well, hey man, I went up to Apple Hill, with
mm,
my grandsons and my daughter and my son and his girlfriend. And we went up to Apple Hill, which is up the hill here from Sacramento, and they had a guy in there that you make your own tie dye. And I'd
ah,
never seen it made before, and so you've got rubber bands around it, and then you spray the colors on, it, and then you dip it in water. So I was like, "Hey man, can you make me one?" He goes, "Well, you can make your own." So I made my own tie dye. He was a hippie guy up in the woods, pretty cool dude. And so I asked him, could he make us some Baker family tie dye, t-shirts? And so that's how it came about.
limited edition.
Yeah, limited edition. I think it's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah,
I grew up in tie dye. Up here in the Bay Area.
yeah.
You wear what you want.
Well, we got to get into some music really quick. You
Yeah.
told me, I spoke to you briefly at the Play Ball lunch earlier in the year, and you had told me that you and Bob Brenly, when Tom Petty had his residency at the Fillmore, hung out with
Mhm.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
We didn't hang out with him, but we went to the concert.
Oh, okay.
And I end up meeting Tom Petty
Mm,
later. Like I have a wall full of guitars. Tom Petty, BB King,
wow.
Buddy Guy, Elvin Bishop, my fishing buddy, who Santana,
Mm.
and my long, not my long time, but my old buddy, cool dude, John Lee Hooker.
Oh,
And those guys, I hung out with Buddy when I was in Chicago. And so like I love music. My dad loved music, my mom loved music. And music is a way that sets me in the mood where I want to be at that point in time.
mm.
And like I have an Alexa, oh, I better be careful, she can hear me. And so whatever mood I want to be in. Like sometime I want to start the day with Muddy Waters, or like today I started the day with Sting, and whoever I want to start the day with, James Cotton. A couple days ago, and just Total a couple days before that. So, I just have a very wide range of of music that I like. My dad was into blues and into jazz. His favorite guy was Miles Davis,
Mm.
and the second was Thelonious Monk. Where my mom, she liked, Johnny Mathis and Lou Rawls, Mahalia Jackson. So, our family just go way back in music.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw Buddy Guy in Chicago at Legends. I'm sure you've
Oh
probably been
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, hey, yeah, I've been there. And my son, I think they let him in with me. And he was like, I think he was maybe 5 or 6. And so Buddy came over and Darren was strumming his guitar. I got a picture of that, on my wall up there with Darren strumming the guitar, with Buddy. So yeah, Buddy's I talked to him a little while ago, and
Mm.
blues guys, music people, period. They love sports, and most athletes love music, and so there's a natural bond between musicians and athletes.
Well, do you play guitar a little bit then, or?
No, some everybody thinks I play the guitar, but I wanted to play the guitar when I was a kid, but my mother made me take piano,
Mm.
and I didn't really want to take piano. She's like, piano's the basis to all music, and so she was right. But at the time, I was playing recitals in front of the church, and at the night service, and my mom, they made me play Blue Danube followed by Hungarian Rhapsody, and so, but I wanted to play, Little Richard, and then my mom came in one day, had my foot on the piano because I had seen Jerry Lee Lewis on the Ed Sullivan Show, and now that's how you play the piano. You know what I mean? And so, I still like the piano, and I wish I would have picked up the guitar, but one of my favorite piano players, and I could pick his piano out anywhere. He played with dang, what's his name? Pine Top Perkins.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, and Pine Top played with Muddy Waters, and so
Mm.
I can pick his guitar out. I mean his piano out anywhere.
Well, is there a bucket list venue you have? I went to the Royal Albert Hall in England earlier in the year. Is there
Mm-hmm.
like a special one that you want to hit? Because I need to hit Red Rock. That's on my list.
Yeah, yeah, that's on my list too. I'd say, yeah, I've heard a lot about Red Rock
Mm.
because I've been to all the concerts in Freeborn Hall and Davis and Fillmore West, Fillmore East, Winterland,
Mm.
Golden Gate Park, Monterey. My brother, he hit Sunsplash years ago from
Mm.
many times down in Jamaica, which I love
Wow.
Jamaican music because I saw Bob Marley at Freeborn Hall, and before he died, I forget what it had to be, maybe 75, 76. I'm not sure because I came to Jamaica on the way back from Venezuela in '74, and that was a real treat. So
Yeah.
yeah, music. We can talk music quite a bit if
Yeah.
you like.
Well, I'm a little disappointed in you. You don't have a toothpick in right now.
Well, there's no stress right now, but I always have a toothpick handy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but I don't have a toothpick all the time. See, people think I do, but I started these Australian chewing sticks,
Mm.
and my dentist told me to start this to do more orthodontic work because I was dipping tobacco, and I never dipped tobacco when I played, but I dipped tobacco because I was a coach, and then one of the players said, "Hey, Dusty, we're behind, man. Uh, have a rally dip." So I'm like, "What?" And my head's all spinning. Well, we got like 6 runs, and the next day did the same thing, got 5 runs. And then the next thing you're kind of hooked on it. And, like Flip Wilson, you say, the devil made me do it. Well, the devil made me do it too. So I'm trying to stop dipping tobacco. Sometimes during the course of a game, I'll have both in at the same time. But the objective is to do your orthodontic work with the toothpicks and to stop dipping tobacco because
Gotcha.
my
Okay.
daughter hates it, my wife hates it, my mom hated it, and so and they're all right.
Well, one question I thought would be fun to ask you. You had told me how Bobby Bonds was one of your favorite guys. I think you're from the same area, right? Riverside.
Yes.
Um,
He
what was?
was he was the favorite guy,
Oh, okay.
not one. He was it.
Well, I know you had said Tommy Davis is the reason you wore number 12, but then it made me
Correct.
think about Bobby Bonds. What was it like being able to have him be your favorite guy and then manage his son? I mean, was that
Oh
kind of
yeah.
added
Well,
pressure or?
no, not really. I mean, see, my dad was Bobby's little league coach at Riverside,
Wow.
and so I went around, and Mrs. Bonds, Bobby's mother, with babysitting me, him and his sister Rosie Bonds, who also went to the Olympics, and she just passed not long ago.
Mm.
And Bobby was a premier athlete of Riverside in Southern California. I mean, this guy ran a 9.45 100-yard dash. He would score 30 points in basketball. He ran track after baseball games or during baseball games. I mean, this guy was everything. Scored 4 or 5 touchdowns. He was a kid that would throw a no-hitter and hit 2 home runs. And so I was 4 or 5 years younger than him. So, he was with my dad, and I was always with my dad and Bobby. And so Bobby motivated me to try to play all 4 sports, like him. I mean, I was pretty good, but I wasn't near Bobby Bonds. And so, Bobby was a guy that, and I held Barry the day he was born. So it's like,
wow.
Like I said, we're from the same town. Then I moved. My dad's job transferred that summer, that Barry was born. And so that's what brought me to Sacramento.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I know you got a busy schedule today, but
Yeah.
I do have to ask, what music started you off today, or what's the theme today? Has it gotten to you yet, or what you're going to be playing?
Mhm. Well, today I started off with Sting this morning.
Okay.
Yeah. And so by the end of the day, who knows what it'll be, but music is my companion. And also like in my office during baseball season, if I wanted to, depends on how aggressive I wanted to be, you know, I play rap music. I play Tupac, or one of my favorite guys, Snoop Dogg.
Mm.
And or else I'll go to uh, Grover Washington Jr. if I need to mellow out or something, or whatever. And so like I said, that would set the mood, set my my mindset on what I had to do that day.
Well, I got two suggestions for you. I'm a big
Yeah.
Lenny Kravitz guy, so maybe
Yeah.
getting that in the
I like
rotation.
Lenny too. Yeah, I like Lenny too.
I won a contest on MySpace back in the day. I got to go on tour with him for 2 weeks. It was the
No
cool.
way.
Yeah, he was always my favorite guy. It was a dream.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we went from here all the way to New York, and he took us out to dinner, and I got to give him song suggestions for the set list. It was like surreal.
How 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 old were you?
I was just out of high school. I was 18, and that was the cutoff. You had to be at least 18, so it was all
Yeah.
meant to be. Me and my dad went with him for 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, because I was just in Hawaii this winter, and I got to see the lead singer in concert. It was a beautiful, like 200 people outdoor. Black Oyuru, how you pronounce it? Oh, dang it. Um, it's reggae music, and I had a couple of suggestions uh, for him, because I used to play in my office whenever the press would get on me or something. I'd play Michael Rose,
Oh,
and
okay.
and I'd play every time you put me down, I get stronger and stronger and stronger. And so I asked him, I said, "Hey man, can you play that song for me, please?" And he played it for me that night. Just brought
Oh,
back a lot
nice.
of memories. Yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome. Well, I'm gonna send you over a link, that Tom Petty residency. It's funny
Yeah,
you mentioned Little Richard. I was just jamming today. They have a live version from those shows you're at,
yeah.
Lucille. So
Oh,
yeah, he does a
oh
great
yeah,
version.
oh yeah. And oh man, I have some great musicians on that. Gato Barbieri. That's. I have a picture of him on my wall.
Mm,
That was Tina Turner's brother-in-law before he died. And I got Chucho Valdez, who Orlando Cepeda,
mm.
one of my favorite guys, turned me on to, because Orlando used to take me with him all the time when I was on the Braves. And like I was in the Joplin and Hendrix and that stuff. He said, "Man, you need to mellow down." So he took me to see Stanley Turrentine. I remember, like I said, I might have been, and he took me also to see Hubert Law. So here I was at 18, no, I was 19 or 20, hanging with Orlando Cepeda, seeing some music.
Wow. And rest in peace, Orlando Cepeda.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was my brother right there.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Thanks for the time, and break open
Yep.
some Baker family wines for the birthday.
All right, man. A little later.
Yeah.
All
See, that's
right.
it.